Bruin fans, fall is finally here. That means UCLA football is back in your life. Head out to the Rose Bowl to enjoy America's best tailgating and to make more unforgettable memories with the Bruins. Nico Iamaleava and the Bruins are ready to make an impact this year, and we need you cheering them at the Rose Bowl. Visit UCLABruins.com or call 310-UCLA-WIN to lock in your tickets today. 310-UCLA-WIN.
Good afternoon and happy Halloween. Getting right down to business here. We're doing it live, doing more at 4 weekday afternoons, right after Guy Benson and just before the 790 KBC News Blitz with Randy Wang at 5. Mottek On Money, live on the air, 790 KBC, streaming live online worldwide at kbc.com. And, of course, the on-demand Mottek On Money podcast, kbc.com, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, all your favorite podcast platforms. Stocks ending the week higher with Wall Street racking up weekly as well as monthly gains as the month of October goes into the Wall Street history books. And it was a strong October this time around. It was a big week with record highs for the major averages, trade deals after President Trump met with the Chinese leader in Asia this week, a big Fed meeting midweek in which Fed policymakers cut the benchmark interest rate by a quarter percentage point, impacting business and consumer loans. And the earnings parade continued with strong earnings from Amazon, easing some doubts about prospects for technology. The NASDAQ powering up 144 points today at 23,725. The S&P 500 up 18 at 6,840. And the Dow gained 41 points at 47,563. All of the major averages hovering near their recent all-time highs. In the meantime, the averages did end the month with gains. The NASDAQ gained more than 4% for the second month in a row. The NASDAQ scored its seventh consecutive monthly gain, while the S&P 500 and Dow racked up the sixth month of wins this year. All three averages ended with solid weekly gains, too. Bitcoin bouncing around lately. Looks like Bitcoin right now is hovering around 109,500. The world's biggest cryptocurrency is down about 4% for the month of October, which we were told historically has tended to be a strong month for Bitcoin. Bitcoin did, however, reach an all-time high early in the month, which was above 126,000. That was the all-time high, but recently it's been bouncing around. Amazon stock up about 10%, closing at an all-time high. Third quarter earnings results easily blew past analysts' expectations. Apple also in the spotlight, and its earnings news also hitting record highs. And NVIDIA bouncing around. The company made a new push into South Korea, saying it'll supply as many as 260,000 of its AI chips to companies and the country's government. Netflix also moving higher after Netflix announced a 10-for-1 stock split. The Fed, of course, made that big decision this week, and today we heard from Kansas City Fed President Jeff Schmidt, who said he would have preferred to hold rates steady as inflation, in his view, is too high. The Dallas Fed President Lori Logan, who's not a voting member of the Fed this year, said today that she would have preferred to hold steady rather than cut by a quarter percentage point. We did hear from the Fed chairman earlier this week that a cut in December is not a sure thing. Shares of Roblox have seen a big gain this year, up about 93%. The company now has a deal to deal with safety issues, artificial intelligence, according to new reports. Roblox stock today is hovering at around $113 a share. On the government shutdown, two federal judges ruling today that President Trump's administration must continue to fund SNAP, the nation's biggest food aid program, basically the food stamp program as it was previously known, using emergency funds during the government shutdown. Wasn't immediately clear how quickly the debit cards that beneficiaries used to buy groceries could be reloaded after this ruling. The process often takes 1 to 2 weeks and remains to be seen what's going to happen. The government shutdown entered its 31st day today, also impacting air travel. Quite a few flights were delayed today across the country. And looks like the airline industry is now pressuring the government to end the government shutdown. We'll get the latest on the shutdown, its impact, and the outlook for ending it when we go live to Washington later this hour with Grover Norquist, the president of Americans for Tax Reform. And it's West Hollywood's biggest night, the annual West Hollywood Loves Halloween Parade. The city of West Hollywood continues the tradition with its Halloween Carnival tonight, and that is big news on Santa Monica Boulevard. And we'll be speaking live later this hour to Genevieve Merrill, the president and CEO of the West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. She'll be joining us live after at this hour, that is, to talk about the business impact of the big parade and what's happening on the business scene in West Hollywood these days on the Sunset Strip and so forth. But first, on your money, the markets, and the economy. Joining us live now, the one and only Steve Forbes, chairman of Forbes Media, which includes Forbes magazine, author of numerous books, including his latest, Inflation, What It Is, Why It Is Bad, and How to Fix It, former Republican presidential candidate, also tax reform advocate and flat tax advocate. Steve Forbes, thank you very much for wrapping up a huge week for us here this afternoon.
Good to be with you. Thank you. And we've got the big game tonight.
That's right. The Yankees not in it this time around. We got the Brooklyn Dodgers in there, though.
You're a good spinner. And and what it goes to show this series is, as Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over. And maybe we'll see if the Dodgers can get the mojo back tonight and tomorrow night. But the fans have certainly seen some of the most extraordinary games in World Series history, and the World Series itself defying all expectations.
Absolutely. Would you have stayed till the 18th inning the other night?
Yes. When you have a game for the ages, you do it, even though you try not to do anything crazy the next morning because you're tired.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for what a week, and including that epic World Series game, unforgettable here at Dodger Stadium, and of course, one big headline after another this week. Give us your impressions here of the month of October, which has just closed out on Wall Street with record highs and this trade deal with China and everything else that's going on.
Well, I think you have to take it apart. Big things happening. And I have the picture in mind of President Trump and the First Lady handing out Halloween candy last night. So parents shouldn't be fearful that kids will, kids should be able to get sweets on Halloween. I'll just leave it at that. Nutritionists may not like that, but it's just one night a week, so get over it. But in terms of what's happened overseas, I think now we have to see getting the nitty-gritty of the trade agreements done with South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and some of the others. The China one, I think in essence, what they've done is really kick the can down a road for another year, which is a good thing. Since they're not going to solve all the problems at once, and we've got some remaining very real military issues. But it's good to get that off the table. It's one reason why I think the markets were responded the way they did. Over in Europe, Russia clearly is bogged down in Ukraine. I'm not sure Putin yet gets the message, but if we supply Ukraine with some more needed weaponry, I think Putin will realize he's not going to win a war of attrition, which would be a good thing. So, but I'm just amazed whether you like the guy or not, or agree with his policies or not. The president's energy is just phenomenal, and he alone could solve the energy problem if we could bottle it.
Yeah, amazing. Came back from Asia and then attended that Halloween party and put the candy on top of DJ Marshmallow. I think that's the costume the kid was wearing there in one of the famous pictures of the week. So absolutely an amazing week. And then we had the Fed meeting and inflation. Of course, you wrote the book on it, Inflation, Why It Is Bad, and so forth.
Yeah, well, the Fed meeting underscored what's wrong with the Federal Reserve. And that is they still believe good times growth is cause inflation, something to be suspicious of. And they did not make one mention of stabilizing the value of the dollar. Interest rates are far too high, even though we have the largest economy in the world, and even though our growth rates are higher than most of the developed nations' real growth rates. I don't take China's numbers very seriously. But we have still the highest interest. We still have higher interest rates in those countries. That's ridiculous, hurtful, especially for small businesses. And so the 25 basis point cut is pitifully inadequate. And the sooner we get a change at the Fed, especially the way it operates, the better. And so I think that fight is going to be looming. But in the meantime, we have an institution that is inadvertently, I'll be kind, is doing more harm than good. by keeping the cost of money artificially way too high, especially for small businesses.
And indeed, it was the Fed chair's comments about a December cut not being a sure thing or something to that effect that spooked the financial markets, and we did see the pullback midweek following those comments. So what do you think is going to happen in December?
I think there'll be a real crisis if they don't come across with another small rate cut, another 25 basis points. And also, they're still paying far, far too high interest rates on bank reserves. They still have nearly $3 trillion of bank reserves, and they're paying 3.9%. At that rate, the banks, there's not much incentive to go out and aggressively lend. You earn more by parking your money at the deep freeze at the Fed than you do even buying treasuries. So it's just distorting the markets in many ways. And I think the Treasury Department and others are going to start to make a substantive institutional case that the way the Federal Reserve is operating, the assumptions on which they're operating, are profoundly flawed, and we need a big change.
On there live with Steve Forbes, we do have some wild cards here. We have a long-running government shutdown, 31st day today, and now a couple of judges have ruled that the president has to continue to fund food stamps, the SNAP program, as it's known now. And then the other wild card in the next week or so could be the Supreme Court ruling whether President Trump has the authority to impose the tariffs he's imposed. And if that is reversed, then the Treasury would have to refund about $1 trillion. What's your impression of what's ahead?
Well, in terms of the Supreme Court, I think when the court makes a decision, and who knows when they'll actually make it, they will rule against most of the tariffs, except for those that have gone through established regulatory procedures to be enacted, like these things, Section 322 or 232. There's several of them. But I think they'll probably rule, and this is where lawyers earn their fees, they'll probably argue that the $1 billion doesn't have to be refunded. But henceforth, Congress is the one that has to pass tariffs because tariff is a tax. And the president's not going to be happy with that. But that's the Constitution. And in terms of the government shutdown, I think it's going to end next week. They could, and I'm delighted that unions, including the head of the Teamsters, come out forcefully saying just pass a continuing resolution and deal with the issues without this crazy government shutdown. It's scandalous that air traffic controllers are not going to get paid, that you have uncertainty about when food stamps or SNAP, as they call it, are going to be resumed. So enough with this nonsense. And I think the Democrats have been very surprised, Frank, that Republicans' approval rating went up, not down.
Very interesting, and certainly you're a world traveler, and looks like more than 7,000 flights at last check were canceled yesterday alone, according to the latest report I saw here. So this disruption is impacting air travel. Dan Ives says hello, by the way. He was at the Forbes conference in Jakarta, Indonesia. He was on the show 24 hours ago. I understand you were with him in Asia and talking about tech and so forth. How was that conference, and any big takeaways from that big conference?
Well, it was in, as you mentioned, Asia, in Jakarta, Indonesia, the fourth largest country in the world in terms of population, largest populated Muslim country in the world, but very moderate. Although you do have some extremists. But Indonesia is determined to, one of the big takeaways, it really affects Indonesia, but a foreign investment as well, is the corruption they have there. I interviewed the president on stage. He was there for an hour, and he was frank. He said it's like fourth stage cancer, and he outlined the steps he's taking to fight it, but he was very open about it, the need to fight it. He spoke about some of the other things that he's doing. So the welcome mat is now out for foreign investment in Indonesia, and given its growth prospects, I think a lot of foreign investors, companies are going to be looking there, especially as they want to reduce their reliance on China. So it was an upbeat conference, and AI Artificial intelligence is everywhere.
Very interesting. On the other line with Steve Forbes, and inflation certainly a concern around the world. We've seen since we last spoke, gold has hit record highs around 4,400. It pulled back below 4,000 earlier in the week and is now back above 4,000. What are your thoughts here on gold and for that matter, so-called digital gold, crypto bouncing around here, recently hitting an all-time high?
Well, those are red lights flashing that the Federal Reserve is standing by, even as the dollar trust in the dollar is falling. The value of the dollar is falling. The amazing thing is all the currencies of the world are weak, and that's just prime kindling for economic or financial monetary crisis. And the fact that the Fed pays no attention to that is scandalous. And I hope one of the things that the administration does, whether it's the president or the Treasury Secretary Bessent, is make very clear the U.S. wants a sound and strong dollar in the future, because there's the perception out there that President Trump wants a weak dollar for trade reasons, and that theory is bogus anyway. President George W. Bush believed that in the early 2000s, and that helped lead to the crisis of 2008, 2009. You don't muck around with the value of your currency. Great nations don't have weak currencies. So that's what those numbers mean. And even though, as you mentioned, gold came back about 10% from its highs, it's still more than double it was 2.5 years ago, and still up about almost 45, 50% this year. Silver is up, copper is up. When you have precious metals, those precious metals going up, that's signaling you better do something to restore faith in your currency, or you're going to get in trouble. Maybe 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road, but you're going to have a real crisis. The nature of these crises vary from each one to each one, but trouble is coming. So that's another reason why we need a change at the Fed. We have these storm clouds coming, and they're still basking in the sun, not realizing that potential hurricanes are coming.
Mm-hmm. And certainly gold has risen in the face of a lot of geopolitical worries, including the Middle East. The U.S. and Israel took out Iran's nuclear program. Now we have that peace deal in the Middle East after a flaring of violence earlier this week. It looks like the peace deal appears to be holding. And then Russia and Ukraine, the war continues there. And certainly concerning that nuclear testing has resumed here as well as overseas. Give us your view of the world hotspots at the moment.
Well, the world is in a period of grave uncertainty, and the post-World War II or post-Cold War conditions that we had are being undermined, and people were uncertain about whether the U.S. would be a reliable ally, which the Chinese are counting on. That's one reason why the president's trip to Asia was so important, was to shore up the alliances. As you know, one of the big things that's happened recently, talking about the never-ending stream of big news, was the new Prime Minister of Japan. And she wants to beef up Japan's defense capabilities against China, and she wants a much stronger relationship with the United States. So does South Korea, because they realize how dangerous China's ambitions are, and they want the United States' help to counter them. So I think that the uncertainty in the world, the president is dealing with them. Cambodia, these stories like Cambodia and Thailand have had an uncertain border skirmishes for years. The president engineered what looked like a peace agreement. Cambodia was always seen as China's puppet, but that's changing now. And what the president did between Azerbaijan and Armenia, not perfect, but better than what it was before, and did it in stopping the fighting there. Doing it in Putin's backyard was a good thing. So I think we're moving ahead and trying to make sure things don't unravel any more than they are. And that's why it's so important we get this whole tariff situation straightened out so people know what the rules of the game are. If we need to make changes, we can make sensible changes and not just be going from one thing to another. So good that those deals were done with in Asia, especially Japan and South Korea. Good that we're not going into a devastating trade war with China. Good thing. Our farmers should be happy that maybe they're going to get some sales. But the problem with China is they often don't live up to their agreements, but we'll see that. And they know that this president's not going to react well if they don't follow through on what they promised in terms of buying agricultural products and selling us rare earth materials. And by the way, one good thing of kicking the can down the road on some big issue with China gives us another year to line up rare earth minerals, both here at home and around the world.
Steve Forbes, thank you very much. I wish we had more time, but we'll have to stop there. And I have a feeling your doorbell is going to ring any second with trick-or-treaters there. We so appreciate your time this afternoon on such a big week and such a big month, and always appreciate speaking with you. Hope to connect with you again next week. Steve Forbes, thank you very much for joining us live here this afternoon.
Thank you, and go Dodgers, I hope.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Steve Forbes, chairman of Forbes Media, which includes Forbes Magazine, author of numerous books. His latest, by the way, is Inflation, What It Is, Why It Is Bad, and How to Fix It. Live with us here on Mottek On Money on 790 KBC. Mottek On Money continues, 790 KBC, winning week, winning month of October. Now in the Wall Street history books, with the Dow today coming in for a closing gain of 41 points at 47,563. The S&P 500 of 18 at 6840. And the NASDAQ up 144 points at 23,725. Apple near its record high, pulling back $1 and change today to 270.37. NVIDIA near its all-time high at 202.49. Netflix popping nearly $30 today in a 10-for-1 stock split announcement at $1,118.86 a share. Checking the cryptos now, we see Bitcoin bouncing around right now at 109,500 or so. Ethereum at 38.54, Solana at 187, and Doge at the moment at 18 cents. Gold at 4,013 and change. Silver at 48 and a quarter. Platinum at 1,572 an ounce. And now the latest news, 790 KBC. Mottek On Money continues, 790 KABC. The government shutdown continues, no end in sight now on its 31st day. Two federal judges today ruled that President Trump's administration must continue to fund SNAP, the nation's biggest food aid program, formerly known as food stamps, using some contingency funds during the current government shutdown. Also, the shutdown continues to have a negative impact on the travel industry due to staff shortages. Just yesterday, about 7,200 flights were delayed and about 1,200 had to be canceled across the country, according to FlightAware. The disruptions continue today with at least about 800 flights delayed and about 240 canceled as of earlier today. Airline stocks moving lower today as the overall market moved higher. Let's get the latest now on all of this. Let's go live to Washington. Grover Norquist joins us live now, the president of Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, thank you very much for taking the call here. You got a front row seat to all this. Give us an update on what's happening there.
Well, bottom line is there was a continuing resolution passed for 7 months, and then we were looking to pass it in another 2 months. The Republicans have been asking to go to regular order. They've written a budget in the House and the Senate for defense, for a number of departments. The Democrats refuse to do a defense budget, refuse to do a veterans budget. We can do these one at a time. That's what we used to do for, 100 years. And they're hoping to just wait till the very end and say, we'll filibuster anything. We don't want a defense budget. We don't want a veterans budget. We just want one big, huge budget so we can come in and demand for welfare spending and a bunch of money, because they're embarrassed that Obamacare has been a big failure. It raised the cost of health care. Remember, it was supposed to reduce the cost of health care. It raised the cost of health care. Why are they having subsidies? The Democrats passed subsidies in the middle of COVID, and then they extended them after COVID was over. So at first you thought, well, maybe COVID, everybody's sick, you need it, and okay, but they passed under the Democrats. But then with COVID was in the rearview mirror, they had more subsidies. Well, why are they doing that? because Obamacare increases the cost of health care for all people. The reason why they had a mandate in Obamacare and said everybody has to buy Obamacare is that many people wouldn't buy it because it was too expensive. It was designed to fail, so that we go and say, okay, we have to have, one big government bureaucracy. We have to have government-run health care, one single payer, everything that the very left of the Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders, wanted to do. It was designed to fail and then go to monopoly big government. The Republicans didn't let it completely fail, refused to go to the one big government, and so the Democrats have been throwing subsidy after subsidy. All of this is about hiding the failure of Obamacare. And so they keep saying, give us $1.5 trillion, and then we'll talk about doing the rest of the budget, including defense and air traffic controls, everybody they're holding hostage.
On there live with Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform. What about these court rulings now ordering the administration to fund the food stamp program?
Well, that's kind of weird. Where do the courts get off telling Congress appropriates money, not the courts. The president administers programs, not the courts. I'm a little bit confused as to why the court says we're stepping in and telling you that if all the government ran out of money, the government's refused to fund much of the government. The Democrats rather have. The Republicans have agreed to pass a budget and tried to, passed it in the House, got a majority in the Senate, but not enough to get past a filibuster by the Democrats. And so judge comes in and selects, I like this part. Why didn't he pick some other piece of the budget and announce that has to be done? So we're getting back. It's a Democrat judge. We're getting back to where judges think they can run things. I do think the Supreme Court will say,
Bruin fans, fall is finally here. That means UCLA football is back in your life. Head out to the Rose Bowl to enjoy America's best tailgating and to make more unforgettable memories with the Bruins. Nico Iamaleava and the Bruins are ready to make an impact this year, and we need you cheering them at the Rose Bowl. Visit UCLABruins.com or call 310-UCLA-WIN to lock in your tickets today. 310-UCLA-WIN.
Action.
Next Roll is a groundbreaking podcast created and executive produced by Vernon Davis.
This is where we talk about reinvention.
The series explores the transformative journeys of athletes, artists, comedians, and entrepreneurs.
They don't just stop here. They just keep going.
Next Roll isn't about what's next. It's about why they do it, how they overcome fear, and the resilience it takes to keep evolving at the highest level.
That's what it's all about. Stay tuned.
Next Roll with Vernon Davis. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
You know what? You don't get to make that decision. That's Congress and the president fight that one out. It's not the role of the courts.
When's this shutdown going to end?
Oh, dear. Well, it depends. The Democrats could panic and say things are looking bad. The unions have been complaining that they're, the unions don't get paid when the members don't get paid. So the unions want their union dues. And they're arguing, government union, hey, hurry up and send the money to the workers so we can get our piece of it, so we can have our money. And the Democrats have to realize that a lot of that union money goes to them. And do they really want to defund the labor union bosses so that the Democrats don't get the money? There's that kind of pressure that's on it. Plus, people do know that the Democrats, all but two or three, voted not to pay the military, not to pay the men and women in uniform. And the Republicans will keep putting forward, let's fund this, and the Democrats have to vote it down because they're playing this game of holding everything hostage. I think the longer it goes on, the worse it looks for the Democrats. Some people say, well, the polling shows that, people blame the Republicans and Democrats equally. Maybe, but the Democrat numbers are going down and the Republican numbers are going up over the last month.
Very interesting. So this weekend, been out and about, right? Are the restaurants thinning out here as people don't get paychecks there in Washington?
Oh dear, that's a good question. I live in Washington, but I am not of it, so I don't know what's going on in the restaurants. But this city has been declining a little bit for some time. Ever since during COVID, they said you don't have to come to work if you're a government worker. You can work, quote unquote, work from home, and so people stay at home. They call it in. That's why when you call the IRS, I don't mean now, I mean for the last several years, people are at home, but they're not really answering the phones necessarily. I don't know if you've ever had to try and reach the IRS in the last couple of years, but it just rings. And then they tell you after several hours, well, why don't you call tomorrow? Okay. I had a challenge. I had something I was trying to find the answer to. And they just keep coming on and tell you to wait for the longest time. And then instead of telling you, at least the airlines will be with you in a moment. They go, yeah, call tomorrow. We're done with you. We don't have time to talk to you. Too many government workers work at home, don't work in D.C. And so D.C., if you run a restaurant or hotel or anything in D.C., you're badly hurt because the government workers who used to come into Washington, D.C. don't anymore.
Right. Well, we'll stand by and keep an open line to you and see what happens in the week ahead. And certainly it'll be interesting here with November 1st already tomorrow. And that's the day we're told when these benefits are set to end for the SNAP program. And looks like some states, including California, trying to muster some state money to help people with their groceries and so forth. And remains to be seen what happens with these flight disruptions as well. So we'll keep an open line to you, Grover, and thank you very much for taking the call here. We'll let you get back to the trick-or-treaters who are probably banging on your door right now, and we wish you a happy Halloween. Thank you very much for joining us live here this afternoon.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grover Norquist, the president of Americans for Tax Reform, live with us here on Mottek On Money on 790 KBC. Happy Halloween. It's West Hollywood's biggest night. The annual City of West Hollywood Carnival 2025 is set for this evening, celebrating Halloween in a big way, probably the biggest Halloween celebration in the United States, and a big boost to business here in this area. And joining us live now is Genevieve Morel, the president and CEO of the West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. Genevieve, thank you very much for taking the call here this afternoon.
No, thank you for having me, Frank.
Probably one of the busiest night of the year for you, so appreciate your time here this afternoon. Take it from the top and tell us what's going to happen there this evening.
Well, we have obviously Carnival, which is going to happen. The streets are closing as we speak.
Bruin fans, fall is finally here. That means UCLA football is back in your life. Head out to the Rose Bowl to enjoy America's best tailgating and to make more unforgettable memories with the Bruins. Nico Iamaleava and the Bruins are ready to make an impact this year, and we need you cheering them at the Rose Bowl. Visit UCLABruins.com or call 310-UCLA-WIN to lock in your tickets today. 310-UCLA-WIN.
Start your day with America in the Morning.
I'm John Trout, your host.
From breaking news.
The U.S. Supreme Court with rulings. Shifting gears, Apple has released a new iPhone. Here's the Wednesday Business Report. It's far from a seller's market.
To politics and entertainment.
Moving into scary movie season, so why not another Conjuring movie? Shifting gears, Powerball jackpot is now the third largest ever in history.
Live long and prosper.
America in the Morning.
Fresh each day.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
To give us the full breadth of Santa Monica Boulevard from La Cienega all the way to Doheny, so you can wander and go into the businesses and walk around in your costume. It's called a parade, but it's really kind of just a march down Santa Monica Boulevard, and it's great eye candy to watch everybody going by and see everybody in costume. It's quite fun and quite elaborate.
That's fantastic, and the place will be packed. I'm sure that was one of the first events that I covered when I first arrived here 30-plus years ago, and it was quite a mind-blowing experience. And the West Hollywood cheerleaders leading the parade usually, right? And of course, yes. All the places totally bustling there. Tell us about some of the businesses there that'll be booming there this evening.
I think they still kick it off, those cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Well, we've got just a lot of different businesses participating and activating their businesses, and you can see them all on WeHoChamber.com/Halloween-2025. But some of them are scary movies at the Melrose Rooftop Theater at EPLP. We've got a 70s disco at Sky Bar at the Mondrian. We've got, if you don't like the 70s, you want the 80s, you could go to the Whiskey A Go-Go. Ziggy Hotel is having a costume party. There's lots of different Halloween activities at La Boheme and Keys and the Troubadour. It's quite extensive. Beaches, Tropicana, and all of the different bars and restaurants on Santa Monica Boulevard, of course, are activated, as well as some on Sunset Strip. Go up there to the hotels up there as well. I just mentioned a few.
That's great, and many people may not realize that the Sunset Strip is part of West Hollywood, and some of the places that you mentioned are the iconic music venues that have the great history of hosting some great rock and roll bands and so forth. How is business on the Sunset Strip these days?
It's doing really well. We just finished Spinning Sunset, a vinyl wax fair spooky edition. We had a family-friendly activities of painting pumpkins and faces and costume crawl. The London up on Sunset is having a Wicked Witches afternoon tea experience from October 4th all the way to November 30th. So all through the weekend as well. You can check that out. So there's lots happening. Again, like I said, at the clubs and hotels up there. Harriet's Rooftop is doing a special step down into the rabbit hole, into whimsical wonderland of curious cocktails and playful surprises and enchanting moments. So everyone has something ready to go for everyone here, Frank.
That's terrific. And the Sunset Plaza area, what's happening there? I know some places have closed recently. Are there going to be some grand reopening soon?
Oh, absolutely. We've got, I know Fred Siegel's Kith is coming in. We've got a bunch of different businesses coming into the Sunset Strip. So look for those soon.
That's great, and certainly the Sunset Plaza area where the Oppenheim Group is, that's the celebrity realtor. That real estate office has become somewhat of a tourist attraction now, right?
Absolutely, selling sunsets. That's the thing. But we've got Joe and the Juice coming. We have something called Pura Vida coming in, a company out of Miami. Chai Ji. We have Christopher's. So we have quite a few new places opening up there on Sunset Strip. So check it out.
That's great. I remember years ago we did a remote broadcast from the Abbey there too. That's probably the epicenter there of West Hollywood.
Well, the Abbey is absolutely a much-loved venue. It still is there, the Abbey and the chapel at the Abbey. So definitely that's going to be packed. I was just there last night. They've got their big Halloween mummy up and glowing in the dark, and they're moving the tables out to make room for the crowd. So they were preparing yesterday when I was over there. Quite exciting. And the Abbey is absolutely an icon of West Hollywood and internationally recognized.
And, of course, with that song now, everybody wants to know, where is the Pink Pony Club? Is there a Pink Pony Club in West Hollywood?
I am sure it's a secret hideaway somewhere, Frank.
It's interesting. Years ago, remember when the song Kokomo came out by the Beach Boys? The song said, in the Florida Keys, there's a place called Kokomo. When that song came out, there was no place called Kokomo, so there was a bar in Isla Mirada which wisely named one of their bars Kokomo and put up a sign, "This is Kokomo." So somebody should do that there in West Hollywood.
They should do that for the Pink Pony, absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Anything else you'd like to mention about what's happening there and how to connect with you and get more information about all the exciting things there you've just described?
Well, just definitely. I mean, West Hollywood spends quite a bit of money on hosting Halloween and putting it out. The city of West Hollywood is fantastic. The next day, you don't know that 400,000 people have descended upon the city. It's clean as a whistle right away in the morning when you come up, and traffic is clear, so the streets are back to normal. WeHoChamber.com/Halloween-2025. But also just economically, while the city may spend, about $1.7 million on Halloween, close to $2 million, it benefits probably about $15 million into the region and the hotels and all of the different spending activities economically. I was talking to Z Pizza today, a little tiny pizza joint, sells 1,700 slices of pizza on Halloween. Beaches, but about 10% of their annual budget comes from Halloween. Pride and Halloween are one of the two major events that help to really feed our business commercial districts here. So they're very important for us, and please come down. It's safe. We've hardly ever, I don't know of any, I've been working in West Hollywood 25 years, Frank, and I have never heard of any incidents. It's very amazing how safe it is and how much we get through these big events. Everybody seems to be just having a good time.
That's great. Well, of course, the Sheriff's Department there, we wish everyone Godspeed and a safe and fun evening. And I was at Dan Tana's the other night, and across the street there's that big vacant lot there. And on the other side of West Hollywood, there's another vacant lot there. These were supposed to be the new gateways to West Hollywood. Any updates on these big construction projects that are on the drawing board?
Yes, absolutely. I know that when on Robertson, we're looking at a housing and retail, sort of converted from originally was going to be a hotel. I think, we've got a lot of hotels in West. We have 20 hotels in 1.9 miles. So really rethought that project and something that really needed here, housing and some retail. It's still beautiful, beautiful development. The Melrose Triangle is being rethought as well, and so I don't have any new information for you that I can share, but they are digging in, and no pun intended, the big hole,
right.
to reimagine what that corner is going to look like.
Terrific, Genevieve. Well, thank you very much for that thorough update on the biggest night of the year in West Hollywood. We appreciate it. We'll keep an open line to you on all things WeHo. Genevieve Morel, the president and CEO of the West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. We wish you a happy Halloween, and thank you very much for joining us live here this afternoon.
Happy Halloween, Frank. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wrapping up the week on Wall Street, near record highs and a winning week and a winning month of October. Nervous month of October, but it turned out to be a winning month for the stock market. The Dow closing up 41 points, settling at 47,563. The S&P 500 of 18 at 6,840. And the NASDAQ gained 144 points, settling at 23,725. Gold right now hovering just above 4,000, and Bitcoin at 109,547. Stay tuned now for the 790 KBC News Blitz. I'll be back with more at 4 Monday afternoon right here on Mottek On Money, 790 KBC.
Hey, Bruin fans, want to go behind the scenes with your favorite teams and athletes? How about getting exclusive merch and opportunities to enter sweepstakes like sideline access at the Rose Bowl? Introducing Blue and Gold Society, UCLA Athletics fan membership program created to support Bruin student athletes. Members receive benefits like exclusive gear, videos featuring insider stories, and incredible experiences courtesy of UCLA Athletics. Sign up today at blueandgoldsociety.com.